Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Trainor. I'm here today to talk about vCenter Operations Manager and vCenter Orchestrator, integrating the two to provide automated remediation. So a little bit about me. My name is, again, Brian Trainor. I'm a senior systems engineer. I've been certified in VMware since the days of 3.5. Used to be on the customer side, now working for a VMware partner, Unicom Systems, local office in Raleigh, North Carolina. We do all kinds of multi-vendor hardware and software solutions consulting. We have worldwide locations as part of the Unicom Global. We specialize in all areas of IT infrastructure, software, cloud services. To get into the talk today, so I'm on this journey. I'm on this quest to try to figure out how to get my data center to how to fix itself, okay? And so in my days of managing operations, okay, I quickly discovered that there were that problems would come up in the most inconvenient times, right? We get calls at after hours, and all too often, this was my experience, okay? Waking up or getting a call or an email late at night, some critical system was down, and having to rush in to fix the problem, right? And so, or waking up in the morning and seeing emails from users that could not get into an application because that application was down. So thankfully with virtualization, a lot of this was remedied. Hardware issues, we have HA to move a VM over to a good server. We have DRS, we have storage DRS, and we have app HA. So we've got some great automated remediation tools already at our fingertips. We also have some really good proactive tools. We have vCenter Operations Manager. Okay, one of the great proactive functions of this utility is its predictive analytics. It can tell us when we've got capacity issues or workload issues that are impending, and we can fix them before they become a problem. vCenter Operations Manager has all kinds of monitoring and smart alerting that help us. It's got a very intuitive dashboard. You can take a look at a dashboard like this, and I can see that, well, I've got a problem on one of my data center objects. I can click on that red box, dig down, and I can find out where the constraining resource is on that particular object. Okay, a lot of great metrics on this product, fantastic tool. One of the drawbacks, though, that I had with this was being able to fix problems from here. I had to manually go into that object, that VM, that storage, and fix the problem. So wouldn't it be great if I could have some kind of way to automate that kind of remediation? Well, VMware does have a couple of automation products. vCenter Orchestrator is one. It's a mature product. Solid automation tool, existing workflows. You can just plug a workflow that's already part of its library into your environment. Off you go. There's APIs for third-party management products, and it's free, right? If you have vCenter, if you own vCenter, you own vCenter Orchestrator. So, but me being an infrastructure guy, I didn't have a whole lot of coding experience. If you want to customize and really tailor vCenter Orchestrator to your environment, you might need to know a little JavaScript. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me. There's also no native plugin for vCOps. So discovered a utility, the vCenter Operations Remediation Workflow package. It's on VMware's Solutions Exchange site, and it allows seamless integration between vCO and vCOps. Right? Extends the capabilities. At that point, we're actually able to automatically remediate problems that come up that vCOps detects. And this could be extended into third-party management tools that integrate into vCO. And so we can get this true automated operations management. It's easy to download, to deploy. And the way that it works is, so you have vCenter, and vCOps will detect a fault or a workload issue, whatever that event is. And once it detects that, it can send a trap over to vCenter Orchestrator. There's a running policy. It's constantly checking for these these SNMP traps, and once it receives one, it'll check it against configuration. Is there a workflow that's tied to a particular SNMP trap? And if so, it'll compare its set of filters such as level of criticality. Is it a warning? Is it a critical issue? And if so, if it meets those filters, then it'll launch a workflow. And then that workflow, of course, will operate against vCenter and problem solved. So I'm going to show you a demo here, and this was something that I've been experimenting with. I think it's a phenomenal way to enter this automated world. And this particular demo, or this particular use case, it's a bit elementary. But if you can imagine thinking about a VM in which the CPU is pegged at 100%, hung process, there's something that's tying up the resources on that VM. Okay, normally maybe a restart of a service will fix it. With Windows, sometimes it's a reboot, right? And so wouldn't it be great if that were to happen, preferably off hours, but if that did happen off hours, and if it automatically rebooted that server for you. Now, I understand that there's some ramifications there. You obviously don't want to, you have to have great caution with that. But that's what I set up here, is this particular setting. So in vCenter Orchestrator, I went into the design menu, set up a configuration, set up you see the top line there under the attributes panel. There's so I set up a workflow that anytime an SNMP trap comes for a health workload, a new SNMP trap for that, it'll launch this workflow called reboot, CPU critical. Okay, so I've got that set up, and then I set up the filters. And under the filters, you'll see that I've got several filters, one for the critical and then the health, the workload. I could also set it up for a particular VM. If I went into the entity name, I could set it up for a VM or another object within the data center. I can even add attributes. And if I want to filter it for a very specific set of criteria. So we've got that set up, and then I set up the workflow. So I created a customized workflow for reboot for CPU. And when I expand that, you'll see that, okay, I ran a few tests already, so it's already run a few times. But here's the workflow. So I've got it set up so that when it receives an SNMP trap, it'll extract the data from that trap. It'll parse out the name of the VM, and then it'll run the reboot workflow for that VM. And that reboot guest VM, it was part of the existing workflow library. All right, so I was able to just plug that right in. And so that's the workflow that I set up. So then if we go over to a VM, I've got a VM set up. It's already, you can see right now that the CPU is low. It's pretty healthy, no alerts. And I'll just speed through this a little bit. You see the health, very high health score, looks great. And then, so over on the VM, looking at the console, this is an old 2008 box, but it's got, I put a load tester on there. I'm going to run a CPU load on that. Going to calculate pi to 8 million digits, and you see the CPU spike up. Okay, so we've got that running. And then we go back over to vCOps. We see that the CPU is at 100%, or, yep, 100% workload. And then we're going to go back over to vCenter Orchestrator. And once vCOps sends the SNMP trap, you will see vCO register that. There it is. You might not have seen that, but where the mouse pointer is there. It just registered that, ran the SNMP, or ran the workload, and if we switch back over to the VM, we will see that it's in the process of rebooting. Okay, so again, I understand that again, a workflow like this, take extreme caution with. But for what this did for me, though, was showed me the power of a tool like this. All right. So if you've got storage arrays like EMC or NetApp, there are plugins into Orchestrator for those products. You can launch a workflow. Again, so enacted by an SNMP trap, launch the workflow to provision out a new storage if your capacity gets too high. Carve out a new LUN or new volume, and then storage DRS VMs over to that. Or you could use something like Hyperic, and you can expand a virtual disk, an underlying virtual disk, if you start to run out of disk space on say a Windows partition. Expand the virtual disk, then it expands the partition. Boom, you've got more space. And then you can also use this workflow to be able to, say, send a change to your change management database, right? If you're a tight change management organization. So you can do all this kind of stuff through these workflows. So again, you've got some real automated remediation tools here that will help you to lessen the manual intervention. So just a few reference links here. So to be able to get this working, you have to have, of course, vCenter Operations Manager, vCO. Actually, the example that I showed you with the CPU spiking, you can actually do that without vCOps. You can actually have vCenter alerts send an SMP trap over to vCO as well. So there are other ways of doing this. The remediation workflow package just gives you some more additional functionality there. And if you're using vCO prior to 5.5, you will have to install the SNMP plugin. There are some great blogs out there. One of them is the vCenter Orchestrator blog. There's an article on there. vCenter Operations Manager integration with vCO in 5 minutes. There's also some great training, vCenter Operations, vCenter Orchestrator. All this is on the VMwareLearning.com site. And I didn't give credit to this earlier, but there's a VMworld 2013 session. Okay, how to build a self-healing data center with vCenter Orchestrator. Okay, that was really the inspiration for this talk. I saw that, and that is what triggered for me the idea that this can be done. Okay, it's obviously got some tweaking to do, but there are some real world cases in which we could use this. So if you wanted to get more information, if you want to reach out to me, you can certainly email me. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter at @BETrainor, and I blog at mountvirtual.com. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.